Hey there, everyone. This is Matt Bridger, and you are listening to the Vegas Confessions podcast.
Didn't we go to my favorite dive bar before that? We went to Double Down.
Double Down Saloon. Yeah, we had some ash juice.
I am all about ash juice. Yeah, baby.
You guys need to go check that room. There's like a dead guy in the bed. And the lady at the counter says, "Well, we'll call housekeeping." Like, housekeeping?
Jay's never met an asshole he didn't like. Shout out to the guy at third base at the blackjack table I was at last, who was obviously trying to keep a high-low count, but was mouthing the numbers as the cards were being turned over.
Be careful what you say, because we can have you whacked.
Okay, I'm Nicky Furmich, and you're listening to the Vegas Confessions podcast.
Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Vegas Confessions. It is the big 100 for Jay here. It is his 100th episode, and technically he said it's more than that because some of the episodes in the early years were like 20.5, 20.7.
You made it sound like I'm 100, damn it.
But
it's episode 100.
Julian has been here for every single podcast episode. So kudos to you, babe. I mean, I'm happy for you. This is the official 100.
100 of them.
But
this is it. I think I've missed one, and that one's when they did it in Vegas. But other than that, yeah, it's been a lot of episodes.
You have done the nitty gritty down and dirty, baby.
And it's fun, and it's been so fun, but we've been strapped on time to get these episodes out in between because of what we've been doing and stuff. But this is one of the funnest hobbies I've ever been a part of, hands down. And the fact that we get to do this, I mean, guys, seriously, she sat here for 20 minutes before recording right now, just singing songs. I played some 90s hits on YouTube, and she was just, it's how she warms up. And it's so hilarious while I'm getting ready over on my end. Oh, I can't stop laughing. It just makes the day. So again, we enjoy doing this. I love doing this. And the fact that I'm doing it with you can't get any better. So, I mean, props to you too, because going back to not only what we do appreciate you guys as listeners, but the supporters, the Patreon members.
Yes.
We did something really cool with sending out shirts to pretty much everyone. There was a few that I didn't have addresses for, and I just got some of those, so I'll be sending some more out. But if all the Patreon members will have their own Vegas Confessions shirt arrive to them within this week and the next week. So that's pretty
cool. A lot of them already got them. And it was really cool because you showed me a couple pictures of they got their shirts and put them on and sent Julian a pic. And that's always heartwarming to see. You know, like not only like did they get it, but they appreciated it enough to at least put it on and take a picture for us. So that was really awesome.
Yeah. And there was a couple. It was Scott and Lisa that are Patreon members. They were actually heading to Vegas, but their flight got canceled with all these cancellations. So they're like, hey, Jay, can you hold off till next week? Like, damn, I already sent it, right? They're like, it's okay. We'll get it when we get back. Lo and behold, their flight got canceled. They ended up, I believe they got to take them with them to Vegas with them. Right. So that's pretty cool for them to take them in, and it all worked out. But big shout out to everybody, Patreon member-wise, real quick. Eric, David, Renee, Taylor, Neil, Rodney, Jay, Bobby G, Michael, Scott, Mike, Travis, Gary, Scott and Lisa, Saul, Graham, and Jaina. You guys are freaking awesome. Thank you for the continued support. What was neat is sending out the shirts. One had to go to Canada to Graham, right? Yeah. So one went to Canada, and it was like $15 to send the shirt off, and all the other shirts were like $2. And so then they give you this special little form, which I don't remember ever having to do. Yeah, so I was like, they're all, don't lose this. I'm like, okay. So, but he did. He mentioned, hey, appreciate the shirt and stuff, but thank you, because
the post office lady was like, can I ask you what's inside? You're like, no.
Oh, yeah. She was like, hey, can I ask what's inside these packages? And that's what I had on the notes, is herself, because I take them to the post office. God, we're going on rants, guys. Again, welcome to episode 100. I'm Jay. She's my beautiful wife, Kelli. This is just what we do. We have so much shit to talk about, and we have little chances to record lately, it seems like. But I go to get these shirts out, and she's like, hey, what's in all these packages? Because when I arrived, I think I had 12, right? 12 shirts and packages ready to send off. And she's like, can I ask what's in these? I'm like, no. And she just looks at me real serious, right? And I was just joking, right? And I started laughing. I'm like, no, I'm kidding. There's shirts. And she's like, oh, okay. So I started telling her, I'm sending these shirts out to supporters of the podcast. And she's like, oh, well, what's it about? And so, yeah, as I told her about, the podcast and it being about Vegas, she was like, we love going to Vegas. Me and my husband go all the time, and we're actually taking my son in a couple months, and we're going to stay on the Strip. And he never really wants to do anything, and he never goes. She goes, but he wants to go and check out the M&M store because he's a chocolate lover. I go, well, right across the street is a Hershey store, And she's like, really? I go, yes. I go, and I was like, if your son likes chocolate, you guys got to go across the street to Bellagio, where the world's largest chocolate fountain inside displayed, and you guys can check it out. And she's like, oh, this is awesome. I go, and she's like, so what is your podcast about? And I go, well, it's interesting because it's both the podcast and YouTube, and we kind of show people different things to do in town. And she's like, are you kidding? She's like, that's really cool. She's like, you could tell you kind of know your shit. I was like, well, I kind of go all the time, and I'm always about exploring and looking at stuff to do. It was a little discount on the packaging and sending everything off, but just super nice. And she's like, I'm super stoked to go back to Vegas in a couple of months now, and he has no idea about this chocolate stuff. So we're going to 3 places now. Like, super cool. But I told her I find it unique, the people that are here locally who... You mentioned Vegas, boy, and that's one of the places they like going to.
I love Vegas, and it's it's a little bit of a drive, but it's not far. It's only an hour if you hop on the plane from Fresno. But LA is a lot of traffic. San Francisco's godly and not a whole lot to do. Vegas, there's always something for somebody to do.
Yes, 100%.
You don't have to be a gambler. You don't have to be, a hiker, but you can go hiking there. You can go gamble there. You can just be a foodie.
Yeah.
You can just love the clubbing and the drinks. You can just love people watching. There is something to do for everybody when you go to Vegas.
What do you like to do?
I like to gamble.
Shocker!
I ain't gonna lie.
Another one.
Or pools. A lot of people, like their destination, they want to go sit in the pool and do the day clubbing or do the pool thing all day. Like that's their deal. Like this is heaven for them. That's not really my go-to, but like I said, everybody has something, and Vegas has found a way to accommodate just about everybody. Yeah, right. No, that's what I find unique about it. And here's something else I forgot to mention with the Patreon members is, remember we sent out a shirt to David, who's left a positive review on iTunes? Oh, yeah. Okay. So he not only posted a picture one day of him in his shirt, and he was saying, I'm wearing it to my local casino, right? But apparently when he went to Walmart, Kansas, right?
yes,
he's from Kansas.
He's from Kansas.
And he's in a small town in Kansas.
Yeah, and so you want to mention what he said on the post?
Yeah, Julian was telling me that he messaged him and he was like, hey, I wore my shirt and I'm in a small town in Kansas. I went to my local Walmart and I'm walking down the aisle and somebody goes, I love that podcast. And he was like, what?
What are the odds,
right? That's awesome. But you never know who who listens. And like I said, everybody loves something and everybody has to have a hobby. And with 7 billion people on the planet, you hope to just, even at 0.0001%, that's cool that somebody was like, oh, I know who that is.
Yeah, I got a kick out of that one when he put it on social media. I thought that was funny. Also, another thing that lady mentioned at the post office she wanted to do was the Martha Stewart restaurant. She was like, I really like her. And I was telling her about the restaurant and how it's, set up to like
key point in setting it up, right?
Right.
She was there for the opening,
and it was all decorated to her raising and the way she grew up, and so it was same meal she grew up on and stuff. So you have that personal touch. Well, people have been loving the food. Some people have also said the timing of the dishes have been off, but it's new. You know what I mean? Right. But it's been an attraction. I don't. I hear I don't know the price point, but I hear the drinks are really, really good. They're all named after her. It's like a Martha Rita or something like that.
It's super funny, but like I always think back, like Snoop came to her opening and helped her out with the opening.
Right. They're close friends.
They're very close friends, and it's such a different perspective, like that they're such good friends, and it just goes to show, I mean...
People have said that about us.
I was just... You beat me to the punch, buddy. You beat me to the punch. That's what exactly I was going to say. Like, they look at us like, we started going out, people would be like, blink if you need help.
Yeah. You don't have a rescue me site anywhere? Yeah, no, that is funny. Speaking of new, the Bally's opened up the cabinet of curiosities and the lock, right?
Yeah.
It's funny because they posted on social media a little video of the place, and people were like, what the hell is this character? Because the guy that had a bunny hat, remember I showed you? He's got this bunny head on. He's actually a magician of a show called The Magician's Study. And he does his show, and his whole spiel is about not showing his face, right? Scott's actually mentioned him on a couple shows back, but it's funny because he was there at the grand opening and presenting the place. And it looks pretty neat. It looks like a vault and stuff, and it's all set up, and you go and they have this whole 90-minute craft experience where you can try different drinks. And I mentioned it to you, but I'm like, what about going to one of these? What do you think? Because we're not drinkers. We don't really know what we like either, so we can't say we wouldn't like it. The only thing we've really ever tried was the Mob Museum Underground. That thing was strong, right?
It was poison. It was straight poison. Oh my gosh. We didn't even try like the last two.
Yeah, we just sipped. No.
Like they were,
Yeah.
Like it tasted like
it was rough.
gasoline.
And we're not drinkers, so I guess going for the strongest shit possible is probably not the best idea, but we didn't know what we were getting into.
Good.
Moonshine, right? Moonshine, that's what it's called.
I bought one.
You've been in. Cinnamon?
Yeah,
right? It was a cinnamon flavor.
The least awful of them.
They all taste.
Were all awful.
Mind you, we're just not drinkers, so that could be somebody else's favorite, right? Like cinnamon flavored, right? But not me.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad.
And by the way, huge shout out to somebody who hit an $11,000 grand jackpot at the plaza on Wicked Wheel on a 40-cent bet. Are you fucking kidding?
Let me tell you this story. and it's just suffice it to say, because this is Julian's favorite game for a very low roller. Like, he loved this game. Played it all the time, and he gets so pissed off. He put $100 in and like, I can't hit it. I don't know what's wrong. And so
what's worse is the bonuses are always shit for me. Yes. It's like $2, $50 or $5.
So this popped up on his Facebook.
Oh.
I mean, I heard him from his office. He's like, "Son of a bitch!" I'm thinking, like, what is going on? And he's like, Cal, come here. You won't believe this. And then he shows me the picture at the plaza, no less.
Yeah, the plaza's post. Yeah.
He's all, and look what he was fucking betting.
Yeah, 40
He's
cents.
all, it should have been me. I was like, oh.
What's worse is like, I boycotted the game, and now that I've seen this shit hit, I know I'm going to be playing it soon.
He boycotted the game and went and started playing free games.
Yeah, free games and the piggies.
The piggies became one of his new favorites.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
But boy, when he saw that picture, he about exploded.
I know. I was like,
so
son.
When he says congratulations, he doesn't really
facetiously.
mean it. He doesn't really mean it to the bottom of his heart. He's just saying, "Oh, it should have been me." In due time, baby. In due time.
So check this one out. Sapphire applied for a gaming license to bring in some slot machines.
I saw that.
Isn't that interesting?
And I thought it was very, very cut and dry. Like, if you have a topless or nude facility, you cannot have gaming as well.
Yeah.
That was my understanding of it. So I don't know if they are going to have a separate facility, and that's what they're saying.
Well, one thing I know about this,
you can't have them intertwined. I don't believe, right?
Well, I don't really know.
A naked girl sitting on your machine while you're playing.
That's not something I looked for at a strip club.
Oh, what did you look for?
The theming, of course.
Oh, that's it.
The outfits.
and Chiquitas Bonitas. That's what you were looking for. Right?
That one I'm yet to see the theming, and I'm really worried about going. So
I'm really worried about what you'd come home with.
I'm sure. Yeah. Fuck. No, but what's interesting is that one's the biggest one. So I can see them having a certain section where they put it, but I think they were looking to bring in just video poker machines specifically. So whether it's bar top or slots, who knows?
And it would have to be a square footage away and like a separate where girls cannot come entertain at the same time.
Maybe.
Would be my understanding of what they were talking about in the article about the laws.
Yeah.
Like, you can't have both. But maybe if you have so many square foot away and it's still your property, but not where the other activities are being done.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You want to go?
No.
Okay.
No. If I'm going to go give my money away, I want a straight slot machine. I don't want to see boobies in my face.
Well, that's what my thought was. Just another slot to put your money in.
If there's Thunder Down Under, maybe, I don't know. Maybe you got to change it up.
Oh, okay.
And it was funny because my daughter, Sydney, went last year in Georgia, like her and some of her teammates. She was like, Mom, we're going to this show, whatever. And I'm like, oh, that would be interesting, right? And the next day, I'm like, Sid, how was it? She goes, those guys are not the same guys on the billboard. Absolutely not.
Oh, just different, yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, they have the hunkiest ones, probably photoshopped. You know, the same thing they do with the girls. And from what she said in Georgia, they're not even close to this. Same looking or physique. Yeah.
Or farmer boys.
She's like, it was not what I thought it would be.
Upsetting.
So you didn't waste your money? Nope.
Guess you got to go to the real one in Vegas.
She brought her dollars home with her.
Damn. So let's talk about another one that I caught interesting while we were gone. Marshawn Lynch was arrested, passed out in the front seat of a vehicle. His tire was basically shot, disintegrated, right?
And I saw the body cam footage from the police. Yeah. And that was just crazy that you can be that far gone.
What's crazy is like his responses to everything. The lady asked him, "Is this a stolen car?" He's like, "Yeah." She started laughing.
He was kind of out
right.
And I don't think she knew who he was at that point.
Right.
You know, she was just laughing like he was just, you know, this guy passed
and obviously it wasn't going anywhere, right? Like,
and
so
he was in an alleyway. He didn't wreck into somebody or somebody's house. Right. That they know of, but he had no tire.
He was on a curb, right? Yeah, he was on a curb in like some warehouse areas.
He went in an alley somewhere.
Crazy.
Right? That's where they found and they only found the car because they followed the rim mark right from the street.
Right. They're like, so where were you going? He's all right here. Oh man.
At least he didn't injure anybody. That's good.
So since we're on the subject of celebrities, here's another one I found interesting. Shaq is hosting an event on October 1st, and it's consisting of Maroon 5, Maren Morris, John Mulaney, and you might even catch Shaq singing live with these people.
Yeah, I think he said, if Adam Levine will let me sing with them, I'll sing with them. I think that's what he said.
Well, they said he's done performances with other people on stage, so he's like, hey, I go, he can give two shits. No. And that's what I see a lot of videos on him on YouTube about, just him having fun.
The more I watch him, the more I'm impressed by him. I mean, he's not just a basketball player. Like, he has a great business state of mind. He has a great parenting philosophy, you know, and he has a great philosophy about wanting to do for others and push everybody and empower them. That's what I really enjoy about him. Not all pro athletes or ex-pro athletes or even, you know, celebrities get to that point, but he really has something to him.
Right.
And, you know, it makes me sad because I always think back to him and Kobe, how they... At first they butted heads, but they really...
were brothers.
They really had it in the end, and they thought a lot of each other. And I remember I watch this interview all the time because it always pops up like on the TikTok about Kobe. He was like, you know, I always say Shaq would be greatest of all time if he would have got his ass in the gym. Yeah. He's like, I tell him that all the time. Like, he is magic, but he didn't want to put the extra work in. You know, like, and Shaq will say, you know, the same exact thing. But they always had that love mentality for each other. And Kobe was a great guy, too. I miss that.
No, but that's one thing about Shaq that I find interesting, too, is there's a lot of interviews with him, and you find out shit about him that you wouldn't even think of. And in one of them, he was talking about, you know, how he got his first brand deals with Walmart and shoes and how he couldn't afford them. You know, he knew if I couldn't afford these shoes, half of America couldn't afford these shoes.
That was one of my favorite interviews.
Yeah.
And it was like, he told Nike, like, lower the price, and they were like, no. And he's like, screw then, I'm taking my business elsewhere.
Created his own shoe, went to Walmart, became one of the biggest shoe branding deals in history. And then to find out years later, nobody ever knew this. And I think it was a recent interview within the last few years, he mentioned what he owns. And people were like, what do you mean? And I think it was specifically Forever 21 that he's the owner of, right?
There's a few big ones. And he was like, I'm a business frame of mind. You keep building, you keep investing, you know? But I mean, that Walmart story is probably one of my favorites. And I was like, okay, he's a good guy. He's you know, for the people, not how much can I put in my pocket. He was like, no, we got to get these kids where they need to be, you know?
I mean, there's even the videos where he's shopping in Walmart. And he sees somebody, he's like, hey, you like that bike? And he asks the little kid, he's like, grab it. I'm going to buy it for you, you know? And the parents are like, why? And he's like, don't question me. I'm buying everything in your basket.
I love those kinds of people that are just, they don't take it to heart. They always want to pay it forward. People. I love that.
Yeah. So here's an interesting one. An FBI agent was arrested after gambling government funds, and he lost $13,000 on blackjack specifically. And I was thinking, one, what an idiot, but two, he was probably playing 6 to 5. But yeah, I saw this story and I'm like, holy shit. So apparently he was in some kind of investigation into the gambling board, and he got caught swindling funds and lost it at blackjack and got busted. Yeah, what an idiot. A Las Vegas-based donut shop opens up and expands into Vegas, and it's called Randy's Donuts. And this one I think we should visit. Even Pink Box, and another one called Carl's Donuts. Remember I showed you the video this week of Carl's Donuts?
And they look good.
It had a peanut butter and jelly donut at Carl's Donuts. And this Carl's Donuts place is a little shop, and it's a one and only. It's mom and pop, and they do all kinds of stuff. I've seen a lot of like TikTokers go in there, and they go like in the back and watch how the donuts are made. Holy crap. Like, we've never done, or we're not really into much sweets, but some of the donuts, I mean, they look, there's like an Oreo one. There's a lot of good looking donuts, and you're a sweet person.
I'm
so
a sweet person.
I think we should check these places out, kind of compare them.
Yeah.
But even because Pink Box is coming in a plaza, we've never been, and they supposedly have the boozy shakes and stuff like that. So I think that'd be interesting to try. Here's one that threw me off, and I showed you the story this week. That Las Vegas landlord who's basically set up a freaking sex contract in his rental agreements. And I was like, what? And then the video goes in more detail, who was reported by Darcy Spears, who's one of the news anchors in town. She's freaking awesome, by the way. She does a lot of dirty dining and reports on restaurants who have bad, you know what I mean, reports. It's so good. But she's one of the anchors in town. She just don't give a shit. She'll put it out there. And so she covered this story, babe. This guy set up a sex contract while taking advantage of people during the COVID period. And this lady was homeless with her kids. And she was like, I needed a place to live. And of course I signed it. And what's interesting is like the housing lawyers are like, this means nothing, you know, this means nothing. This is.
But to people that aren't contract savvy per se, you know, and if you're just like, well, he said it says it, so I guess I have to do it so it doesn't kick me out. Some people are like that, like, well, it said this, so you know, like people who have had some sort of at least background or education would be like technically like, yeah, I'll sign it to get my ass in the door, but no, I'm not giving you my ass. You know what I mean? Like,
and it was just I blew my mind because like the stipulations
it's
in there.
It's hilarious how crazy.
And he's been charged and caught doing this already before.
Right, a few times, right? Yeah, but I mean, he had to have known drawing up the contract, because he had to have been at least intelligent enough to draw up the contract, put that in there, that there's no way he could stand on 2 feet if it ever went to court.
Well, and then there was, there was shit in there like, the boyfriend can't be bigger than him or aggressive or, like, you know, like young. Like, what the hell is this? Yeah, just some weird stuff. And again, we bring this shit to light because it is Vegas. We do report on the fun, the good, and the bad, and the ugly, right? Like, that's just kind of what we do here. So
and the crazy.
Yeah, that's what it is. And I didn't even get to the episode title because we just started going into it. And it's funny you mentioned that. This episode I actually titled as Crazy Las Vegas Stories, Updates, and Episode
100.
Apparently, there was a story about Dana White trying to bring his good friend Tom Brady and Gronk to the Raiders last year, but it was pushed off by Gruden, who's now no longer with the coach because of everything that happened.
And that never came up during the season, to my knowledge.
No, this is something that's coming up way later.
Yeah.
But I found it interesting because not one and only are the Raiders right now, by the way, 4-0 we were just talking about. I was watching some of their clips. The defense really looks good. But, I mean, it's funny because I've been watching a lot of the Raiders stuff because everything we've been doing for work, Vegas-wise, I found this story to be like, what? And I just wanted to mention it because
and they had a decent run last year, right?
10-7, yeah. Right? So, I mean, not bad, but... Yeah. It brought up
imagine what Gronk and Brady would have brought to the table?
Well, that too. But what would have happened with Derek Carr?
He would become the backup.
You think so? Like, I mean, because that's my thought is like they wouldn't get rid of him.
I always love me some Carr because he's Fresno State, so he's a local boy. But if you're comparing Brady and Carr.
Yeah, I mean, Brady's going to start, right.
Even if he's older, he's still got the touch.
That's what we were talking about. Like, it doesn't matter how fucking old he can. That experience and that arm, that's all he needs, you know? He doesn't need to move. I mean, but
and
he
proved it. I mean, he's...
Yeah. That's crazy. That was just a crazy story to be like, what? How are we hearing about this late?
That would have been very interesting.
I mean, if John Gruden wanted to be something to gloat on, like that would have been his opportunity. I'm sure. If he would have done a better job of hiding them emails. And speaking of Raiders, did you see the fire at Allegiant Stadium this week? Apparently cardboard around a generator caught fire, and so it caught some areas of the stuff to fire. Just crazy. People.
Yeah, there was a concert there that night.
Yeah, and what I found interesting is like out of all nights that you need the monsoon to take effect and do something, there was no rain that night.
Where's the rain?
Yeah, no shit. So here's one that I found interesting is they are hosting the World Series of Comedy at the Brad Garrett Comedy Club, September 17th at 6 and 8 p.m. Now, apparently it's the semi-final and final round, and it's basically all these comedians in town who are going to battle for this, basically, you know, the World Series spot in first place and battle each other at jokes and basically go head to head on comedy, and the crowd is going to be the judge, and there's going to be some judges there too, but it's going to be at Brad Garrett's comedy show, and I thought that's something that's unique.
I didn't know there was a World Series of comedy.
I didn't know either, but I mean, there's a World Series of poker. I know there's...
Interesting. Now, where is Brad Garrett Comedy Club located?
MGM Grand.
Okay, MGM Grand.
But that one I heard on another good podcast. Not saying that ours is one of the good podcasts, but it's called Vegas Revealed. They are really good at information, kind of like a few podcasts we'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, there's going to be a few podcasts and YouTube channels we're going to mention here after a minute. So one thing I wanted to mention is I forgot to talk about it last episode is when me and Bobby G went to this place called the Orchid Gardens. Okay, and they bring all the different dim sum and little foods on carts, and it's non-stop that they bring these carts around to the table. There's not like a menu that you can really order from.
Yeah.
What it is really is they have a menu of what you get, and they mark your cart as they come by, and that basically adds up how much you pay, right?
Oh, okay.
So you can get some drinks, and we sat down, and mind you, everybody's wearing masks still. Me and Bobby G are probably the only non-Asian people in this place. So I'm excited, right? So I have no idea what I'm getting. Bobby's been there one time, I believe. And he sent me a picture and he's like, hey, Jay, I'm here having lunch. You want to meet me? I'm like, I'm here too. Let's do it. So I have no idea what I'm getting. All these carts keep coming around, and some have the rice on the bottom trays, and there's 3 levels on these carts, and so many different food, right? Like these sweet buns and just different like shumai, which is like pork wrapped with, you know, like a dumpling type thing. And then there's just so much different dim sum and just different varieties to try. But we have no idea what they're saying, okay? And they have masks. All the servers are wearing masks. So we already don't know what the hell we're getting or what the hell they're saying. So we're like, what is it? And they're repeating themselves. And so now, one more time? And they're yelling at us, right? So we're like getting yelled at every time the lady at the carts come by. And it's just hilarious because then Bobby's like, what is it? So we can keep getting... It was just so funny, babe. But this place was really good. One of my buddies who runs another Vegas YouTube channel of food, he put a video out about it as soon as I got home, like a couple weeks later. And his video got so many views, and people were like, I didn't even know this place existed. I'm like, and that's the benefits of, you know, going away from the strip, a few minutes away, not far at all. And people just rant and rave about this. Cool. And this place basically was food on carts nonstop till you can drop. They would bring you food and just stack up your table, and all these little like baskets that were all heated and stuff from steam. So everything was good, and it was just nuts to see how many people were in this place.
That sounds really cool, though, you know.
It was neat.
And they don't have anything like that in the valley here. Like, I don't think...
Not that we've looked for. I mean, you're not big into trying other stuff, so let's be real. You're not going to really adventure into that kind of stuff. But yeah, I found that concept pretty unique, and there's a lot of places popping up like that. So check this one out. So Nevada Gaming Board approved the Fremont Sportsbook's going to be renamed FanDuel. So it's going to be operated by Fremont, the same sportsbook and stuff, but it's going to be branded a FanDuel Sportsbook. I found
Fremont Casino?
Fremont Casino,
okay.
Yeah. I found that one interesting because for FanDuel to come in, right, and brand in a casino.
I think they're trying to put their foot in the door.
Right, because they're more of like an app.
They're
online. That's what I thought.
Multi-state online.
Yes.
So maybe they're trying to get the foot in the door in Nevada because they don't really have a foot in the door here.
Maybe they're bigger than we know.
Right.
But yeah, I found that interesting because you have to have money to get in a casino. You know what I mean?
Circa has their own sports book, but
right.
Plaza goes with William Hill.
Right.
And different casinos just don't want to take that aspect on in their casino. And FanDuel already does all the sports stuff. Maybe they
have their lines. Yeah. Huh. Maybe a different set of fresh mindset. Yeah, I found that one interesting. I was like, holy shit.
And FanDuel has a great customer base already, so maybe they're thinking that people who come frequent Vegas, that's a site that they're already
used to and know. Mm-hmm. Or in their
customer
app. Yes, 100%. Okay, yeah, I didn't even think about that. See, that's a good thing you're here.
For a reason or two.
So check this one out. So the Nevada Gaming Commission banned a Las Vegas man from entering casinos, and he was added to the Black Book after multiple charges of assaulting women, attempted kidnapping charges. It's well known that people, cheat casinos and they end up in this Black Book, but I've never heard of anybody being put in this Black Book for being basically a dick. Like, I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of that either.
Yeah.
They didn't technically break a law and they're not on parole.
And they can't be in this establishment still. Yeah, like, I found that one interesting. I mean, that's one way to weave them out. I mean, don't get me wrong. And
just like
you
have the right to reserve service to anybody.
Yeah. And then I guess if he's on that, he can't be in any establishment, so he can't even be in the street. That one's nuts. But I mean, it goes into that new ordinance they're doing with people who. And
it's not like you say it's because he's a dick, but he was like harassing women.
No, I know, like multiple times.
Yeah.
I mean.
But he must have a record, though, because if they know he harasses women, he must have gotten charges filed against him.
No, I'm sure.
Right?
And that's one thing that's coming out with the Strip and the casino areas, is if you get caught, prostitution charges and stuff, you can't be there for like a year and stuff. So that's one of the new things that's coming into effect. But I saw this story and I was like, what the hell? This guy got in the Black Book for, assaulting women and attempting to kidnap and doing all this shit, which makes sense, but I didn't know that's a way you can end up in there.
I didn't either.
Wow. Okay. So here's something else I wanted to chat about. You okay with it?
I'm good.
You putting the bed in?
Yeah.
Shocking. See how we have to do this podcast? The focus.
It is the technical first week of college football.
Priorities, baby. Priorities.
Lost Northwestern bastards.
All right, so here's one I'm excited to chat about. Now, all of my notes are done and everything, but this one is something recent that I planned and you had no idea about, but I knew at some point I was going to have to mention it to you because you're involved. So, you have to get ready, right? So, I mean, and that was a big part of it, is last weekend I wanted to record, but I was also trying to sneak and talk to your mom on the side. God, that sounds so wrong. And what I was trying to do, and the reason is, God, that sounds bad, is because Kelly's birthday is the upcoming Friday. So I was planning to do a surprise Vegas trip for Kelly, but it's hard to do that. And, I had talked to mom-in-law and I'm like, hey, do you mind watching the baby for a few days? And so I can take Kelly out and you don't have to worry about getting her a gift. That can be your gift for her, And so, hey, that's what we agreed on. Happy birthday. And so, listen, but you know how your mom is. She'll give you some anyway, because she's just a baby. So obviously we're staying at the Plaza. That was the easiest go-to, trying to set this up behind her back. Okay. So I talked to, and big shout out to Q, because Q was actually out of town and I reached out to him. I'm like, hey, I need a room for a few days. We're going to be in town these dates. He's like, Jay, I'll get back into town Friday. I'll get back to you, no problem. So he hooks up these rooms for us. And I asked Kelli yesterday, I'm like, hey, babe, I got all this stuff planned for you. And what my intention is, guys, is I'm going to do some stuff for Kelli that she's never done or we haven't done together. And I have a list of shit here that you guys obviously know. I go to Vegas all the time, and there's a lot of different unique things that I do. But I've also brought some new things into the table that I haven't done and she hasn't done, and new things that have opened up. So I got all kinds of shit planned for us for like 3 days in a row to just do a few shows, a bunch of shit around town, new restaurants and spots we've never tried, dinner locations we've never been to. And I asked her, I was like, do you want to know anything? She said no. But I would love to get an idea of something you want to do just throughout the trip. Whether it be just relax, enjoy yourself, whatever. That's the whole reason of going, and that's what I told you this week, is this is your week. We can do whatever the hell you want. You want to kick back and just watch football all weekend, we can do that shit too. You know what I mean? Whatever you want.
I know Saturday morning, that's where we want to be. We want to go to Circa and spend a few hours. Mm-hmm. Georgia plays at 12:30.
Yeah.
There would be nothing better to be in our Georgia gear in front of Circa.
Yeah.
Watching some first
week one. Were we there week one last year?
I don't think so.
I don't think we were. Oh no, we were there March Madness.
We were there March Madness.
That's what it was. Okay.
But to
it's
get
gonna
some
be
college
badass.
football in front of the Circa Sportsbook would be while playing the machine. Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm wet already.
Oh my God. That's awesome. Yeah, so I figured, hey, I got stuff planned. I want to do some stuff with you, but I know we've been working a lot. And guys, we've been home and I've been cramming in thousands of videos. You've been cramming in thousands of podcast clips.
What did you say the other day?
What?
You said, who would have thought?
Oh, yeah.
Just out of the blue.
Yeah.
It was yesterday or the day before.
It was yesterday, yeah.
We're sitting here talking, he goes, babe, who would have thought we would both be working from home with each other about Vegas?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Like, what? Who would have thought that, 10 years ago?
That's crazy.
And he said it with a smile. He's like, oh.
With everything to do in town and all the different podcasts and YouTube videos and things that we see people doing, I felt like, hey, I want to get an idea from you. I have plenty of ideas, but of some unique.
I would have to check an app for that so I can get an idea of what would tickle my fancy.
And huge shout out, by the way, since you're going to talk about an app, is to Mike Cunningham. Because he's been very forefront with using it. He was one of the first ones who was in Vegas to use it at the time. And he's going to come on here soon, and we're going to talk about the app a little more and things that he enjoyed just as he's using the app in its beta stage. And what we're talking about, guys, references back to what we just talked about our last episode of us taking on our newest job, with it being a Vegas app that covers everything to do in town. So because we've been listening to so many different podcasts and watching so many different YouTube channels and just basically Vegas content and bringing it all within the app, that's what all this is entailed. The app is called Vegas Near Me. Right now it's free and it's going to stay free even when we release it publicly. It's still in its beta stage. But what's neat about this thing is we are adding so much curated content into it, which makes it cool because you can see or do anything you want to do before you even get there. And people have been using it from home, getting ready for their trips, and they're like, there's so much information when it comes to shows, and everybody likes it for a different reason. But I like it because the exposure of stuff you didn't know you can do in town. That's what I'm more interested in, because you haven't done some things that I know we can do together. Mm-hmm. I'm like, this is freaking perfect. From restaurants that are super uniquely themed or do things super different that we've never tried together.
Right.
Just because we've been working and doing all this kind of stuff, reviewing every different place, over 15,000 different businesses in Vegas. It's crazy.
And it has so much to do. I mean, there's so many things. You can paint with dolphins. You can meet the dolphins. You can be a dolphin trainer for the day. Who would have thought that? That's stuff you think SeaWorld. Yeah. Not at the Mirage Las Vegas that you can do all this stuff. But you can. And you can book it through the app. That's what's awesome. Fun.
You told me you don't want me to tell you anything I have planned for you, so I'm not going to tell you much of what...
What interests you that we haven't done yet?
Well, something we haven't done yet. I was thinking about doing some off-the-wall shit, but I don't want to take too much time of the day, you know what I mean? Like, because some stuff can be far away from the strip, and that's some stuff like the tours and stuff I didn't want to end up way out of town. But I wanted to look at ATV rides and that they do out there, because you can go on some ATV rides out in Red Rock, and they go in between like all the big rocks and stuff and get some really cool scenes. And I'm like, that actually looks pretty decent. Like we've never done anything like that. I've never even ridden an ATV. I think it'd be fun.
You technically did. Remember when we went to the coast? It was a big giant thing. Remember that you drove? Remember you took the kids, the older kids? And
that was a dune buggy. That was that was
kind of like ATV.
No, that's like more like a car.
Yeah,
because they have just a gas and brake pedal. These are more, you know what I mean, adjusted. They're a little different, but no, I definitely think there's so much stuff we can do, and that's just, it goes back to the app. I mean, the app is just so beneficial and gonna be helpful for everybody, and it's free, and that's what I like about it is we are learning of so much different shows and people that are coming to town. Every week I'm putting in videos for places or shows that are coming, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, they just announced Usher's extending his show.
I think Lake of Dreams would be cool.
Yeah, I think that's actually on my list.
Because you were telling me when you went and met Travel Ruby and Mr. Ruby, how cool it was. Yeah. And I don't think I've ever been over there.
And there's going to be a lot of new things, which I'm excited for you just to see, because we never take much time to go out to different places, but when you're not there, that's kind of predominantly what I do, right? So I'm like opposite mode.
You
so now
have fun without me. I got you.
No, just a different kind of fun.
Oh, okay.
No, but that's what makes it unique is some of these places, like I've been to, I'm like, man, Babe would enjoy this. Like there is some unique places that they don't have to be money involved. Right. They don't have to be, super expensive. Lake of
Dreams it's showing it's free. Glow at Resorts World.
Well, Lake of Dreams is more a show where you have to go and get drinks. So it ends up being not free, but it's still essentially free. But there's so much stuff to do. We do head out to Vegas Friday morning, Thursday night, whatever we decide. We'll have everything covered as far as shows, restaurants, and things to do. I have all of those set up. But there's also that loop where I'm like, hey, if you just want to chill, totally fine. Like, we don't have to do shit. You know what I mean? It's your weekend. We can do what you want. I have reservations for dinner at certain places. 2 shows are booked. So when we get closer to, I am going to have to, I think, mention it, because it's going to be really up to you if we decide, hey, we're enjoying the games or we're into the betting too much. So we're like, no, we want to watch the game instead. And I get that too. So, but there definitely are some new things that I want to do with you that I think you're really going to enjoy.
Sounds good. I'm game.
So what was funny is the other day, while I was trying to keep this all a secret, it lasted for maybe a few days. I was trying to keep it a secret from her. Her mom calls me as we're at breakfast. And she's like, why is my mom calling you? I'm like, oh, fuck. And so sure enough, that gave up like the whole thing, right? The whole surprise. And so I'm like, all right, babe, here's what's going on. This is what I had planned. And I knew at some point I'd have to tell you, because you have to get ready. You have to pack. You have to do your stuff, right? You can't just go. It's not just that simple. And that's why I was like, all right, I got to set up, your mom babysitting for a few days and making sure she was cool with it. That way we can go out and just do Vegas for a few days. So huge shout out to her.
Yeah, Mom. She's always really good with Jackson. She really is.
Yeah, he loves going over there.
Oh, he does. And they go on adventures and they take walks, and she loves to get his haircut, even though it's
he doesn't need it. Yeah.
She does the true grandma thing,
Yeah.
And she loves it. She takes it all in.
So we will be in Vegas this upcoming week. Another thing I do want to mention with you, and I want to do with you over the next few episodes, is because we've been watching all these different YouTube channels and listening to all these podcasts, what I want to do with you is go back and forth, and I want you to recommend maybe 3 podcasts people should check out that are rather Vegas information you find entertaining that you think people should check out. I'll do YouTube channels, and we'll do this every kind of episode for people to just kind of get something else to check out. while, you know, we're gone and there's other videos, because there's so many different awesome creators that kind of do stuff along the same realm that we're doing, right? Whether they're podcast or YouTube channels or just TikTok people. And they have some really, really good information. Yeah. I want to start off with you. Out of 3 podcasts, what would be some of the first 3? And again, we're going to keep doing this and we'll keep mentioning them. What are some of the podcasts you think people should check out? The first 3 that I are my go-tos are On the Corner of Maine. Yeah. That's a really, really good podcast. Love Jonathan. Yeah. You know, like Lisa does a great job. Yeah. Rich does a great job. And this is not even the fact that we just like staying there. It's just the delivery of the show. Right. It's just entertaining. It makes the time go by super fast. Yeah. You know, and I'm always like, oh, that's they just did this last episode was like questions that came in. Right. Just very candid. Not afraid to answer anything. It doesn't matter if it's, you know, questions about, it was like the video poker machines, like what are the, you know, differential, something like that. But I mean, really whatever the topic, they're not afraid to approach it. And I love that. And it's just a smooth delivery. Yeah. Scott's is always funny just because Scott is Scott. We love you, Scott. Vital Vegas. And he always does. He has the scoop on a lot of things going on in Vegas. Before other people. Before anybody, because then every other podcast I listen to says, well, Vital Vegas reports. That's it, yeah. So he is the go-to reporter. Right. But those are my top 2 that are my go-tos. Okay. Yeah. I've been catching up on Tipping the Odds, and that Mitch and Kev are just hilarious. Yeah. Their dry humor and off-topic humor is funny. I mean, then they throw in the politics here and there. But sometimes I just it's a good change up from facts, and just a good change up of delivery as well. So I love listening to Mitch and Kev too. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I definitely wanted to just shout out other episodes and creators. And another one to mention podcast-wise would be the Jeff Does Vegas, because he mentioned us. Remember, I thought that was pretty cool. I brought that up too. I was talk about it a little bit. That was pretty cool. Yeah, like I even recorded it for you, remember? And I was like, look at this section right here, and it talks about like different podcasts creators that he likes to listen to, and he mentioned, you know, Vegas Confessions, and I'm like, when I paused it, I'm like, just listen to this part. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Yeah. But yeah, he really does. I haven't gotten to listen to his for a while because so good. Part of my job was listening to his, but that was like back in May. Right. So he just did an episode about the atomic bomb and the testings, right? And all the different sides. And it was so good with all the background noises and the different voices and characters. It was so detailed in information. Like, that guy, he knows his stuff when he's looking up his, you know what I mean? His information, which really brings it to a compelling listen, especially the podcasts for drives are good for me. Like, that's when I listen to them the most, when we're driving to Vegas. Oh, so fast. I'd rather think of, hey, I got 6 podcasts versus 6 hours before I'm going to get to Vegas. Right. So if we're going to talk about a few YouTube channels, I think the first one to mention right off the bat, we mentioned her earlier, is Travel Ruby. She's been killing it lately with, not only has she been starting off with like the rooms and different restaurants to eat at and buffets, but she's now moved into like the news and stuff recently. So she tells you these monthly updates of what's happening, what's changing over, what restaurants are coming, and what you're looking at to get to pay when some of these places change hands, and you know what it's going to be like afterwards. So she's been killing it as far as information, places to go. She covers a lot of the new places. The second one is going to be, and now mind you, this is no in particular order. This is not about subscriber count and how big these people and creators are. This is just in the board in general. Another one I really enjoy watching it's called 702 Eats. And this channel basically is a Las Vegas channel, and he goes to all these different restaurants. And this guy just goes and records his experience and what it's like. But he doesn't just do the strip and down. He's going to these little places that we're out taking pictures of for work and that we see all the time. And I'm like, dude, this guy's going to these parts of towns, and he's everywhere. Mom and pop throws up videos sometimes, 3 times a week. And he's just really good at information. Another one that's hilarious, and I have to mention them, they're from Fresno.
Oh yeah, they are.
They are fucking.
And they don't have a big subscriber count, but
they're
funny,
like 500.
When
maybe?
When I was listening to you
Oh my God.
watch them, and Julian multiple times in tears, laughing so hard. But I mean, I went in and he's like, "You babe, you gotta watch this." And they put time, effort, and quality into their videos too. You know what I mean?
They are so funny. The channel is called Basic to Bougie Food Reviews, right? And then it went to Basic to Bougie Restaurant Reviews. Oh, babe, these guys... Just
hilarious.
The delivery.
Yes.
They're from here. They go to Vegas. They try different restaurants, and they're all about food. And their gimmick is, hey, let's try these, expensive places versus cheap places and compare them. Their videos are so well put together, you guys.
They're very well put together.
You will laugh your ass off at just the innuendos and inside jokes and the way they make fun of each other. And like they went to have a whale burger at Slater's 50/50, and one goes dressed in fucking long johns, and oh my God, and the guy's like, the server tells him, there's no whale in the burger, right? And they're just kind of like, yeah, we do that, of course, like just fucking hilarious. I mean, they just do these funny things where, again, it's not always Vegas stuff, but it doesn't matter because their delivery is just great, man.
Yeah, they put together good YouTube videos.
Yes.
I mean, quality, well put together.
Yeah.
Just fun. And like I said, Julian was in tears.
I'm in tears right now talking about them. They're fucking funny, man. They won recently, like it was like a giveaway from Say Hi to Matthew, another YouTube channel, right? And that's where they went to Vegas and made that limo song video, right?
Yeah.
So they go to Vegas and they go try different places that Say Hi to Matthew recommends, right? And that's obviously another channel that I'll mention and talk about here. He was even on the podcast. Good people. They won his contest, and so when they won, they went to his favorite places. The donut bar, they got a limo ride. They went to a couple different places, right? Well, as they're getting in a limo, they made this rap video, right?
It was hilarious.
Oh my fuck. And it was good. That's it. Like,
it was.
It's so good and just well thought out. And obviously they're from here, so like they're thinking of their stuff ahead of time before they get out there. And the delivery of the videos, and it's, again, guys, nobody knows about this channel. It is fucking
but they are
gold.
Hilarious.
It's gold.
They are hilarious.
Yeah, and what's funny is, because we know them and we know where they work here, is like when we see them in person.
That's the only reason you found them.
Yes.
Because they were dealers at a local casino, and they
knew of us, invited
knew of Julian, and he went and had dinner with them, and they told him about their YouTube channel too. And he started, and he was like, "This is awesome! Like,
Backstory.
You guys are really cool."
This is perfect right now. You're mentioning their channel, and they watch other channels, right? So like he's just starting his channel, right? And we're at dinner when I first met them, and they're talking about how they watch a lot of the big different creators that are all about YouTube tips and tricks and how to grow your channel, right? And every now and then one of these creators, Roberto Blake, I think it was, he'll go and check out your channel as you're talking to him to see how you can help build your channel. And so now these guys, Basic to Bougie, they're like, "Hey, how you doing? Big fan, and would love any kind of advice you can give me on growing my channel," right? And mind you, there's like 1,000, 2,000 people watching, and so he's like, "Okay, let's check out your channel." And with everybody live on it, he's like, "No, waving his hands, no, please don't check out my channel."
Like
so he goes,
"You're supposed to have."
They had nothing, and so he's like, "Dude, I felt like he was just bombing on my channel. Like, you should have this, you should have this." He's like, "I felt like I shouldn't even ask." Like, it was but it was the most hilarious story, because I know what it's like to be in those live streams where people are asking, "Hey, how does my channel look? And what do you think I should work on?" So the fact that it happened to him just fucking killed me. And his face, babe, face and the way he was telling the story, like, I can't wait for you to meet. You know them, but I can't wait to hang out with them, because they're fun. They are fun people.
Hilarious.
Joey and Mike, good people. They really are. So that's it for this week's episode. We're going to definitely come back. We might even record while we're out there, just recap some of the shit we're doing, because, again, we're going to do some shows in different places that we're going to check out we haven't been to, and I'm really interested and excited to get Kelly's feedback on a lot of this stuff. So if you guys are interested in going to some of these places, you guys can definitely check it out. Again, thank you guys for listening this week. Much appreciate you guys bearing with us. We are cramming a lot of work into this app. That way, once this thing's ready to go and ready to release, everything's there, and we can just actively be in Vegas promoting this thing, not having to worry about doing the back end work that we have to do now. So that's our biggest goal in sight right now, is to get everything we can get done so our hands can be free of everything and we can just run and start just creating a bunch of exposure for this app and letting people know, hey, we got something free for you to throw in your hands. Definitely use it, take advantage of it, and it's definitely going to benefit you when you're in Vegas. So again, guys, thank you for listening. Check out the Vegas Near Me app. And again, any positive reviews we see, we might be reaching out to you to throw a shirt your way. Again, thank you for all the messages and feedback of people who have been using the app lately. It means a lot because you guys have been giving us a lot of feedback. That's one thing I joked about Kelly is, hey, Kelly, I'm going to be like that new strip club guy out there with my phone. What you guys doing tonight? Oh, you don't know? Scan this phone. Check this shit out. You can get a free app right now. Tell you what to do in town. So I'm going to be the new strip club person outside, not selling strip club stuff.
You better not be selling strip club stuff.
Well, not. If I'm going to give them a deal, they can give me a deal.
Excuse me?
I mean, nothing. I love you. Guys, until next episode, I will chat with you soon if I'm alive. Cheers.
Cheers.